It certainly was an interesting week, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. I seemed to have ruffled feathers once again inside the internet wrestling community, and I don't really understand why. Everybody should know at this stage of the game that I want a better product. I want the best product that WWE could put out there. But why is everybody so upset with me? Because I am one of the many people, by the way, that does not want to see Edge versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the WWE Universal Championship. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. And after today's show, I think you're going to swing in the other direction about Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns and not want Edge in the main event of WrestleMania. I got news on all that today on OTS. Steve Cutler, he was released from WWE for an absolutely ridiculous reason, with the door able to still be open for a return in the future. Lars Sullivan was quietly released from World Wrestling Entertainment, and I don't think anybody really is going to miss the former Freak on SmackDown Live. Also, WWE may not be leaving the ThunderDome in Tropicana Field anytime soon. I got news on that as well. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair might not be happening at WrestleMania as WWE continues to contemplate plans for the 2021 Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair. And I got your Monday Night Raw, AEW, NXT, and SmackDown ratings reports. Everything rolled up into one big ball, folks. You don't want to miss this one. This is episode 363 right here on Off the Scripts.
Hi, Mr. Mason. I'm Jean.
Take a seat. So you think you're qualified to be my personal assistant?
Well, I think I'm qualified because I'm very reliable, I'm bilingual, and I've been a secretary for 3 years before.
No. I don't care about all that. I want you to tell me why you need this job.
I'm a single mother. I have kids, I have children to feed, and I have bills. I'm behind on rent, and I really need this.
You know, I've had several people apply for this position, and they all have got stories just like yours. They can't pay their rent, their kids are starving, blah, 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 blah. So how do I know that you're the woman for this job? I need you to prove it to me. I need you to show me that this is for you. Take your phone out. I need you to make a very important phone call for me. And if you need this job, if you really need this job, then you can do this. Okay? I need you to read exactly what's on these cards. Can you do that for me?
Yes, absolutely.
Take them. Make the phone call.
Hi, I'm calling to speak with Jay Rose. Okay. Great. My name is Jean, and I'm calling on behalf of Charles Mason. Yes, he would like to inform you that he will be coming to Paradigm Pro Wrestling. Yes, no hooks, no bars, just pain for the poor. But first, you're going to hear me suffer.
on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel today. It is Saturday, February 6th, 2021. This is episode 363 of Off the Script. I feel like today is a special day, man. I can't really put my finger on it. I know something is happening today, but I can't figure out what the hell it is. I need some help, man. Has Monday Night Raw just turned my brain into jelly the last 52 weeks? I don't know. I can't really figure out what we're celebrating today, man. Maybe we're celebrating some asshole's birthday. Does he deserve a happy birthday? I don't know, man. Maybe everybody wants him to rot in hell and be exiled from the IWC. I think that's it. I ain't going anywhere, motherfucker. I ain't going anywhere. The only place I'm going is up, and I'm taking you guys with me, man. We got a big show today, and we're going to go over all the big news and speculation coming out of the Royal Rumble, going into WrestleMania. Very newsworthy week in WWE. We're going to cover it all right here on OTS. Shout out to Charles Mason. Shout out to Ken Broadway. I stayed up and watched that GCW 24-hour live stream. Not all of it. I'm not that fucking crazy. But I stayed up specifically for their match last Saturday, and it was the Saturday before the Royal Rumble, so I wanted to ring the weekend in style. Watching two of my boys, man. Mason and Broadway are the future of the business. No question. If you guys watch them work, you would know that and understand that. What you've seen in the beginning of the podcast today, if you guys are watching on YouTube, is Charles Mason and his vignettes, his mini films, giving you a glimpse into what he is all about. Filmed by Big Hodge, Jason, my partner on the CNC. So if you guys were looking at that and thought to yourself, man, this looks familiar, it's all Jason, man, it's all Big Hodge. So shout out to him. He does unbelievable work as always, which a lot of people are very familiar with. But if you guys want to go and follow Ken and Charlie, go and follow them on social media. I'll leave both of their social medias down below. And if you guys want to go check out more of Charlie's character and his vignettes, I'll leave you his YouTube channel down below. So shout out to them. They put on a very good match in the dead of the night on a very cold Saturday, January night, man. And I think both of them deserve a lot better than what they were given there. They killed it. Easily the best thing on the show. And I'm not just saying that because I know them, but I hope that we can get their story and their respective brands on a bigger platform with the proper voices behind it to tell their story and really mold them for the future. So they did it. They did it right. They're doing it right. I love them. And they will be going places, no question. No doubt about that, man. So, again, go check them out. Links are down below. I seem to have ruffled feathers in the IWC this week, man. I don't know why. You know, a lot of people, this is what I don't understand. A lot of people take my approach as being negative. A lot of people take my approach as being, oh, JD hates the product. He's just hating the product. He's a WWE hater. He does it for clicks. He does it for views. He does it for likes. He does it for subs. He does it for social media attention, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, everybody that says this clearly has no fucking idea about anything regarding me. It is not wrong of me to want a better product. I'm sorry, I want a better product. I'm sorry that your mentality is mediocre. That you're content with mediocre television. That you're content with WWE making you look like a fucking idiot. I don't want to feel that way anymore, man. I want WrestleMania to be the best WrestleMania could be. And we are going to preach that, hoping somebody hears our voice. If nobody hears our voice, I will be right in the end anyway, because what happens will be the opposite of what I would do, and what you get more than likely will be shit. Edge and Roman Reigns is the rumored main event for WrestleMania. All speculation. Nobody knows this is confirmed or whatnot. Meltzer reported it. Meltzer's not right all the time. But that is the rumored main event for WrestleMania. And the news that I have today regarding this match at WrestleMania, this speculation at WrestleMania, it will be a make or break situation for Adam Copeland. It will be. It will be either be a situation where you look at him and think, Man, I love Edge. I think Edge is great. I'm happy he's back. I'm happy he's ending the career that he had the way he wants. Or you're going to look at Adam Copeland on the other side of the fence and think, I hate this fucking guy. I want him to go away, never to come back again. So we're going to talk about all of that, because when I read to you what exactly is going on here, you may feel like, man, I don't want Edge and Roman Reigns anymore. I want Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan to main event WrestleMania, which is the better match anyway. I mean, give me a fucking break. Edge has no story with Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan has a story that right now WWE hasn't tapped into. They haven't even begun to tell that story. And that story is the absolute downfall of why Roman Reigns was exiled for 6 years until he turned heel. So we're going to go over that. And it's a big one. It is a big, big, big one, guys. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys go and check out all the other content that you might have missed on the channel. We got live streams out the ass Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Go and check all that stuff out. Raw, AEW, and SmackDown on Fox. All on the channel. If you guys need any more additional content to catch up on, all the playlists are linked down below in the description of this very video. Go get your masks. Mouthmaster.com/OTS. Still available. Always will be there for you in this time of need. Go and get your t-shirts. Bonfire.com, the exclusive home of Off the Script, and all of JD's merchandise down below in the description as well. Make sure you guys go and check out the sponsor for today's show. They are back with us all WrestleMania season, and that is The Ridge. Ridge.com/script10 is the code. You guys are going to save 10% off when you go and visit our link, our unique link for The Ridge. Ridge.com/script10. Go and get yourself a wallet, a knife, a backpack, a charging block. You guys name it, man. They got everything that's going to streamline your daily life and make it easier for you. I love The Ridge, and I'm glad they're back on Off the Script. And as always, guys, let's hit that thumbs up. That thumbs up helps out the channel immensely. If you guys hate Monday Night Raw, I want you to hit that thumbs up down below and let me know. Let me know how much you hate Monday Night Raw. And by the number of likes on this video, I will assume this should be 3,000 at least. Thank you guys for all your support. Let's start at the top, man. Going to start off with these minor news reports coming out of WWE ThunderDome. I got some news on 2K as well, working on the new WWE video game. Their conference call. I'm not really going over what they said or how much money they made or whatever the case may be, but there's one thing in particular I want to go over that Nick Khan said with the conference call that happened this week, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous what these people do and how far they go to lie to their investors. So let's start at the top, man. ThunderDome. WWE might not be leaving ThunderDome at Tropicana Field so soon as originally reported. Now, they moved from Amway Center to the ThunderDome at Tropicana Field. ThunderDome is not going away anytime soon, but WWE might need to find a new home for their virtual fan environment soon enough. The company needs to be out, or what was originally reported, out by Tropicana Field in mid-March. But they could run into a situation that would allow them to stick around at Tropicana Field just a little bit longer. Now, the Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that the next baseball season might get pushed back. I don't know why. I don't really know why. What are we doing with the MLB? I understand all the other seasons got pushed back, but why does MLB need to push back when they have the fortunate circumstance of starting in April? And I think we would be in a little bit better of a place in April than all these other sports were when they restarted their new seasons late last year. So what exactly are we doing? Another thing I want to really tap into here and figure out why is Trevor Bauer being offered $40 million a year? I don't really understand this. Now, I don't know where he goes at the recording time of this podcast, but the Mets seem to be interested. I think the Giants might have been in there as well, the Dodgers. I know he's from the West Coast. But what makes Trevor Bauer a $40 million pitcher? I don't really get it. Now, I wish Greg Maddux was Greg Maddux of growing up. When I was growing up watching Greg Maddux, I wish that Greg Maddux was in this current landscape of Major League Baseball. Greg Maddux would be making $80 million. Nobody was better than him, or Pedro Martinez, or Randy Johnson. Those are the guys from my heyday, my childhood. Can you imagine any one of those guys in their prime now? They'd be making $100 million a year. What makes this guy better than a Greg Maddux or a Randy Johnson or a Pedro Martinez? Especially with the numbers that he put up in a half of a season. You really can't gauge how anybody should be making that type of money in a shortened 60-game season. I don't really get it, but that's a different story for a completely different podcast. But Tropicana Field. WWE was going to leave Tropicana Field in mid-March, but they could get the field a little bit longer. However, if the next baseball season ends up being pushed back, they may not leave until the summer. It was noted in the fourth quarter 2020 earnings call this week on Thursday that the company doesn't plan on holding ticketed events once again until at least the second half of 2021, and we'll have to see how rapidly those plans can come together after WrestleMania. Now, that little piece of information at the end, WWE is having fans at WrestleMania, but after that, if you guys are expecting WWE to have fans, as long as they are in the ThunderDome, there will be no fans. And WWE said that's at least the second half of 2021, so we could be looking at maybe by SummerSlam. I would assume WWE's next big show after WrestleMania is SummerSlam. Maybe they have fans for SummerSlam, and then we get back into regular circumstances then with fans in attendance. By that time, it would definitely be time for WWE to leave the ThunderDome at Tropicana Field. Now, Vince McMahon said, no matter what, he was reported by Wrestling Inc., quoted saying that if WWE wants to have fans, it's going to take as little as 6 weeks for us to get back into the swing of things and get fans out there once again, because that is the power of our global audience. I wish WWE had fans after WrestleMania. These shows desperately need them. I am so tired of listening to the audio track of fake chants and fake crowds inside Tropicana Field. It is mind-numbing. But at least we're getting in at WrestleMania. And the reason why WWE is having WrestleMania happen on 2 nights again is because they want to collectively, between the 2 nights, fill up that stadium as if it were one. So that's why they're doing it. When WWE goes back to WrestleMania in 2022, it will only be 1 night, and they hope things will be back to normal where they can fill that stadium in Texas, 100,000 people in 1 night. It's going to be tough, but WWE is going to at least try. So WWE might not be leaving ThunderDome anytime soon because the MLB season will be pushed back. I want to see them with their back against the wall. I really do. If they have no place to go, as far as a large-scale stadium goes, where are they going to go? And they're not touring. I'd like to see what WWE produces when their backs are against the wall. Maybe they would be more open to having fans in attendance if they weren't inside Tropicana Field. So we'll see what happens with that, but they will not be leaving, and you and I will be seeing ThunderDome on TV for just a little bit longer. 2K is working on new WWE video game scans, and that happened at the Royal Rumble. The beginning of the Royal Rumble, seeing 2K start to scan talent and have talent work on scripts and getting the verbiage out there that will be in the next game. Now, if you guys recall, 2K20 was a complete failure, and WWE, they couldn't do anything about it. I don't know what the hell happened there. Lots of glitches. Many fans felt the game was rushed. It was legitimately the same game as 19, but worse. Worse. Missing things. Wasn't even close to what 19 was, and 19 wasn't even all that good either. Instead of coming out with WWE 2K21, they went in a different direction, did 2K. They released WWE Battlegrounds, which came out last fall, but WWE 2K22 is being developed for next-gen consoles with the expectation that it will be released later this year. And it's going to be interesting to see if AEW comes out with their game and they go to war with WWE 2K. Because I know which one I'm choosing, and it ain't WWE. And I think a lot of people feel that way as well. 2K lost a lot of trust in the consumer with their business practices, man. They got people working for 2K that don't give a shit about the game at all. Some people may say that they do, but nobody that works there gives a shit about the game. Otherwise, 2K20 wouldn't have been released the way that it was. I don't understand these. I say this all the time. Same thing with Call of Duty, man. I don't understand why we don't go to 2 and 3 year life cycles. Why do we need one game to come out every single fucking year with minimal change? I don't really understand that. If you had one game and you worked on it for a couple years, 2, 3 years, and then in that time start to develop new ideas and new concepts, upgrade this, upgrade that, and not rush the game out every single fucking year, maybe we would be in a better place. Everything seems rushed. Everything just sucks. It really does. So PW Insider reports that representatives were backstage at the Royal Rumble last Sunday. Representatives from 2K, that is, backstage at the Royal Rumble. Per the report, WWE talent will record or have recorded voiceovers as well as taken scans for the next edition of the video game series. Some notable modes for Battlegrounds include King of the Battleground, an online last man standing mode, and Battleground Challenge, where players take their customized creations from the superstar creator and compete in a series of challenges to unlock skill points, build up their abilities, and earn cosmetic items. Sounds like a boring time. I have not at all picked up Battlegrounds, and I probably will never pick up WWE Battlegrounds. That's just me. They rush something out, as usual, just to get that out there instead of taking the entire year off and solely working on 2K21. Ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. WWE believes, get this, that they don't have a problem with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown on Fox. They don't believe that they have lost viewership in 2020. Now, I don't know why something so ridiculous was stated, but it actually was. Now, WWE reported their fourth quarter earnings for 2020 this week. A conference call that followed included a few questions from investors about the company's performance. One in particular dealt with slumping ratings and viewership numbers. Now, Nick Khan, who is a WWE upper, higher, elite executive, was handed a question about WWE's dwindling viewership numbers. He said, and get this, I quote, "We don't believe that we have lost eyeballs to the product," meaning Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. He also then stated that the belief is that the same number of eyeballs are there, but they have shifted to other platforms. That's exactly what he said to these investors, lying flat out to all of the people that have invested money in WWE stock. WWE offers their content on YouTube and other linear platforms. This is where they believe fans have diverted their attention. It was said that the company's Facebook numbers are up in the last 6 months by a significant amount. Growing their ratings is always going to be a goal, but they believe as a society, having less going on, such as an election and a pandemic, then those eyeballs will transition back to the company's in-ring product. Good luck with that. If you are there believing this guy's bullshit, you are worse than they are. WWE remains very confident about their future and their business model. They offer entertainment options across a wide variety of platforms and will continue offering those alternative viewing options for fans who would rather take in the product by using these newer means. So, obviously, I had to do some investigative work and I had to produce facts for you guys. Now, before I get into what I've uncovered, WWE, no matter what's going on with an election or NFL Monday Night Football or whatever sporting event is competing with the WWE or the election or whatever's happening with Trump, WWE they've accumulated the worst ratings in their history in 2020 alone. If you look at the top 5 worst ratings for Monday Night Raw, every single one of them would have been in 2020. This is factual information, okay? I don't need to look at any numbers on a week-to-week basis. It just is the fact. Now, I've always stated that the product is exactly the product you would have gotten if there was no pandemic and we were living in a world where Trump didn't exist as president. Everything would have been the same. The shows that you got inside the gymnasium during the pandemic would have been the same shows you would have been given if WWE was on the road on a weekly basis, going from city to city on Monday and Friday night. The same exact shows. Okay? If you don't think that way, stop sucking WWE cock. Please, you are the bane of everything that is wrong with this company. Now, I want to read you what I've uncovered here. We're going to take a look year to year from 2000 to 2017. Their ratings from a year to year standpoint. Look at this. In 2000, their year rating overall between all 52 weeks of Raw, 5.88. 2001, 4.64. That's a big drop. That's a big drop. It only continued to get worse, folks. 2002 was a 4.01. 2003 was a 3.76. 2005, slightly up, 3.81. 2006, slightly up, 3.90. 2007, 3.61. 2008, 3.27. 2009, 3.57. 2010, 3.28. 2011, 3.21. 2012, 3 on the dot, 3.00. 2013, 3.01. 2014, 2.95. 2015, 2.64. 2016, 2.26. And 2017 was a whopping 2.17. If you guys want a little glimpse into WWE, the last 3 years, 2018, 1.6. 2019, a 1.58. And I can only assume 2020 was even worse. Now, I don't have numbers for 2020. I could not find them, and I was too lazy to do the math for 52 weeks. Okay? But folks, if Nick Khan and WWE think that the same amount of eyeballs are on the product, they are making every single person that is invested in this company look like a blithering fucking idiot. How do you feel knowing that you've gotten money in the WWE and invested money into the WWE, knowing that these people think you are a fucking idiot? I just ruined, I swear to God, man, I pray that WWE never gets me on one of their conference calls. I would have read all of these fucking numbers off to him, and I would have said, how is that even fucking possible? Why would you go out there and say that to the people that have invested their hard-earned money into your stock and your company? The WWE are absolutely delusional if they think that the same amount of eyeballs are on the product. The same amount of eyeballs are not on the product. Those eyeballs are somewhere else. Because when it boils down to it, Nick Khan, no relation to Tony, Nick Khan, the product is fucking garbage. Why aren't the numbers there? Because you failed to create stars that people want to watch. You don't have that must-see aspect anymore. Monday Night Raw has been dwindled down to nothing more than a 3-hour snooze fest every fucking week with repeated booking every single week, thanks to Bruce Pritchard, who has not one creative fucking bone in his body, run by a 74-year-old Vince McMahon that would rather push aging part-timers than give opportunities to new, youthful fucking talent. Monday Night Raw is in shambles. The creative sucks. The television shows suck. You have not created any new stars. All of this, when it boils down to it, you put this in one big pot, throw a little salt in there while the water is bubbling, bro. I know how to cook my pasta. I'm damn good at it. I also know my pro wrestling. Don't fuck with me when I'm talking about Monday Night Raw. I know better than everybody that this show is not where it needs to be. From top to bottom, this show needs massive change. And it starts with the suits and ties in the back. How dare you say that the same amount of eyeballs are on the product? They are not, clearly. All you're doing is giving in to people, hey, it's all right. Don't worry about it. You may voice your concern, but I tell you, trust the process. I don't trust anything coming out of WWE because I know whatever they're shilling you is complete bullshit. The shows are not being watched by the same number of people. You could take all the YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook fucking numbers and analytics and throw them at me. If people didn't watch the fucking show, it shows in these numbers. I know you got these numbers. All because you're getting massive numbers social media-wise, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing good there, Mr. Khan. It means that people don't want to invest 3 hours and 2 hours on Friday into your fucking show because it's unbearable. They'd rather consume it in 1 2-minute clips on YouTube and get everything that they need instead of waiting 3 hours for something to happen and then be ultimately disappointed with it. Give me a break. Oh, but please continue to invest money in WWE. It's a great fucking company being led there by Nick Khan and Vince McMahon, who blatantly lied to the people that are investing their hard-earned money into them. Speaking of hardworking, Steve Cutler, he was released from WWE. He actually issued a statement late Thursday night on what had happened. Now, as previously noted, we got Deonna Purrazzo, who is the Impact Women's Champion. She was on Twitter and stated that her and her boyfriend, Steve Cutler, if you guys didn't realize they were a couple, they're an item. Deonna Purrazzo wrote on Twitter that her and boyfriend, Steve Cutler, both tested positive for COVID-19 in early January. Now, I didn't want to throw it out there because I didn't really know. But when 1 week passed and 2 weeks passed and then 3 weeks passed, and we didn't see Baron Corbin with the Knights of the Lone Wolf, and there were reports that there were positive COVID tests coming out of SmackDown, and then I seen those guys just miss TV 3 weeks in a row. I'm not an idiot. I pieced the puzzle together. I'm like, well, I mean, there's only one explanation for that. If reports came out of SmackDown where Drew McIntyre was not the only one who tested positive on the roster, and that there were actually a couple of names on the SmackDown side that tested positive along with him. I just made the assumption to everybody on one of those SmackDown live streams that it could be a situation where Cutler and Blake are both out with COVID. So it ended up being true. Now, Dave Meltzer, by the way, Deonna Purrazzo says that her and Steve Cutler absolutely have no symptoms. And they've taken the proper precautions always as far as COVID-19. Now, Dave Meltzer noted that Cutler is believed to be the first wrestler fired due to testing positive for COVID-19. Meltzer explained that Vince McMahon was said to be, quote-unquote, livid after finding out that there was a New Year's party which led to Cutler testing positive. Now, Meltzer says, and I quote, the belief is that it had to do with this New Year's Eve party that led to this positive test, and that McMahon had promised a few wrestlers like Reigns a safe environment when he returned, and Cutler was around all of the talent. That's what Meltzer initially said. Cutler was said to have been training in the big men's class at the Performance Center when he received the news that he was being let go. I'll get to that in a second. Meltzer continues to say, and I quote, unfortunately today, this is Cutler, I'm sorry. This is what Cutler said. Unfortunately today I was released. It was shocking to say the least, but I am excited about the future and all the possibilities in front of me. Thank you for your continued support. 90 days, the countdown begins, and then he put a beer glass emoji. Cutler would be legally able to sign with any wrestling company in early May. As noted earlier, Cutler was released after recently being brought back as part of Baron Corbin's stable alongside Wesley Blake, known as the Knights of the Lone Wolf. Now, he was released and he was given his future endeavors on social media. If WWE didn't give a fuck about Steve Cutler, and Vince McMahon was so livid, they would have not given him a future endeavored statement on social media. I take it as if WWE is giving you a future endeavored tweet, then the door is seemingly still open for a return. And I guess a lot of people don't really blame you, or they're not upset at you, and there's no heat on you. Now, there's no reason to believe that they were being negligent in their actions or irresponsible in their actions, okay? I'm assuming if Impact is doing what they need to, they're testing. I would hope so, being that they're on television and taping every single month, right? I would assume that Deonna Purrazzo is not going to put her boyfriend in jeopardy. I'm assuming that she is properly tested when need be, and they're both taking the proper precautions. I don't see her, harming his career or being negligent with him, and then he goes to work and he's got to be around everybody. I'm assuming they're taking all of the proper precautions here, getting regularly tested. And I assume that Steve Cutler, even though he's dating Deonna Purrazzo, who's a part of Impact and their women's roster, I'm assuming that Steve Cutler is hanging around WWE talent. I'm assuming Steve Cutler had WWE talent over the house celebrating New Year's, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I saw a picture of Ricochet and Casey, and I believe others from the PC were there. If it's WWE talent, the majority of the people that he was hanging around with on New Year's Eve was WWE talent. I'm assuming that they're tested regularly. And I'm assuming that WWE, of all places, is taking the utmost proper precautions. So why would he be punished? Why would they fire him for having a small gathering at his house, which in the state of Florida is fine? You're legally able to do so. Not 20, 30, 40, 50 fucking people. If you got 8, 9, 10 people and you're all taking the proper precautions, I don't see a problem in it. They obviously didn't see a problem in it. Some of you might not agree with that, but I don't see a problem in that. If they want to celebrate New Year's with friends and family, so be it. As long as you have been taking the proper precautions to get to that point. Now, Drew McIntyre even said, hey, man, I was home most of the time. I tested positive for COVID. I don't know how. It could be a situation like that for Steve Cutler and Deonna Purrazzo. They have showed that they have no symptoms. So Steve Cutler was fired for having COVID-19. Steve Cutler was fired for supposedly contracting COVID-19 at a New Year's Eve party with friends and family over his house. Then he goes to work, and WWE's asking him to specifically train the big men that WWE somehow thought needed training. Otis and Omos needs training. But Otis, Keith Lee, guys like that were sent down to the Performance Center for additional training. He was training them. I believe it was him and Gulak, if I'm not mistaken. So WWE takes him off of television to help others. They instill this trust in Steve Cutler to teach these guys what they need to do. He's well liked from what I read. Everybody enjoyed being around him. Nobody really has any heat with him. Never once have I heard that Steve Cutler is one of those guys that caused a ruckus backstage, or he's a menace backstage. He's difficult to deal with. He's a problem for creative. I never heard such stories. But Vince McMahon is looking at this situation and deeming it well enough for him to be terminated. So you enlist this guy, you trust this guy to teach the guys that you want on TV. You take him off TV. His spot off TV goes to somebody else. So you have him train. You instill this trust in him, and then you want to fire him as if it's okay to do so. Thinking it's right and moral and humane to do so. This poor guy was used as an example for everybody else. That's all this is. Why did they release Cutler and not Blake? What is Wesley Blake going to do now? He got rid of his fucking tag team partner. The fuck are you going to do with him? I don't really understand the logic in all of this. And correct me if I'm wrong, aren't these tests very iffy? This guy could have been fired for absolutely no reason. We don't know if he was tested additionally. We don't know if he tested positive and it became a false positive. He went to go back and get tested again and it ended up being negative. We don't know. It's none of our business. But what if? What if this guy was fired on a technicality for no reason whatsoever? You want to use and then abuse, use and then dump because you want to make an example out of this guy for everybody else on the roster. Ricochet was at that same fucking party, if I'm not mistaken. So was Casey. But Steve Cutler's got to be the one that gets fired. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Steve Cutler, man, this is a detrimental fucking firing to the WWE. However, will they survive? I'm not saying that. I'm about giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. Why would you go and do that? Steve Cutler was a very good talent along with Wesley Blake that you guys didn't even fucking utilize. It's amazing to me how Jackson Riker goes on social media and, you know, he is portrayed as an asshole for all the social media bullshit that he caused when he was ousted on social media, when Trump was still president. And this guy is the guy that remains on the roster while these other two guys, Cutler now released, Wesley Blake, I'm assuming is going to end up in the same way. They just didn't do so because, you know, that would mean both guys would have the same amount of 90 days. WWE is going to wait. Why would they release both of these guys with the same 90-day clause so they show up in the same place at the same time? They're not going to do that. They're going to release this guy and they're going to release this guy when they want. After his 90 days, Cutler is up, then they'll release Wesley Blake, and then, you want to be a tag team somewhere else? Not on my watch. You're going to wait now. You're going to sit out the rest of this year, because fuck you. That's how this place operates. But it's just a fucking sad situation, man. How could you think this is right? It's mind-numbing to me. It really is. And I feel bad. I really do. They were a damn good fucking tag team that got the short end of the stick. They were way too good for that division. You might not have liked the gimmick, but, I mean, they worked their fucking ass off. I remember Cutler before the Forgotten Sons. Then all of a sudden they got this gimmick. Still not the best gimmick in the world, but man, could they work. I didn't think nothing much of Steve Cutler when I seen him. I thought he was nothing but a jobber on NXT television. But they ended up being they were the revival. After the revival had gone on to better things. They were NXT's newer version of FTR. They were that good. They were that good. Cutler's gone from WWE, and it's sad. It really is. He got the short end of the stick, no question. Lars Sullivan. This is a guy that a lot of people really didn't give a shit about even when he was on TV. But Lars Sullivan was also quietly released by WWE this week, and I got a lot of news on Lars Sullivan. He was quietly released. WWE did not make any public announcement whatsoever of his release. Ringside News is credited with this information. They asked around about Lars Sullivan's release, and they have heard the same thing from everybody, but nobody is surprised by this news. Lars Sullivan entered a high-pressure situation time and time again, and bottom line is he could not perform. NXT was much better for him because they could cater to his needs, and the smaller, intimate venues were not as intimidating. Sullivan simply couldn't perform under the massive attention of the main roster. Now, WWE gave him many chances, more than most would ever receive, because Vince McMahon saw him as somebody that at the end of the day could ultimately make money off of. Sullivan's size, his presence, this was all very eye-catching to Vince McMahon. But his past, his very bizarre and checkered past, played a role in the downfall of his career. He had racist and homophobic rants on bodybuilding message boards that cost him $100,000 in fines from World Wrestling Entertainment. Then he was in adult films. He was in adult films with the same sex, and this was ousted by social media, and it wasn't spoken of backstage. It was also something that everyone was well aware of, including management. They knew. They knew. I guess they didn't care, but they knew. So when it came out, everybody kept it quiet because they already knew. Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer message boards said Vince McMahon was set on pushing Lars Sullivan, but Lars Sullivan frequently no-showed television. Ringside News says, and I quote, "We were told whenever he disappeared, there was a situation that arose, and WWE just came to the end of the line with him. That was the end of Lars Sullivan. You missed TV, and WWE was in the mentality of, that's it. That's it. We're moving on. We're giving up. Time and time and time again. I don't blame them for that. It just became official now. Lars Sullivan's final appearance on SmackDown was on November 6th. As they previously reported, Sullivan stopped showing up to SmackDown soon after that. I believe that was one of the sit-down interviews with Michael Cole as far as direction for his new persona. Now, another tenured member of the creative team simply told us here at Ringside News, and I quote, "He couldn't handle the pressure, and no one was surprised by his firing." Fightful Select and Sean Ross Sapp report, many within WWE were confused by Lars Sullivan's creative direction. They didn't understand the intention or direction that WWE was going. Nobody knew. The shirtless backstage promo with Michael Cole was also seen in a very interesting way. Many that we spoke to in November had no idea the creative direction or intention of Lars Sullivan's promos, particularly the shirtless one with Michael Cole. A high-level WWE source had said that it seemed like sabotage or a test to put Sullivan in such a spot. Now, I don't know what that means, but they wanted to see whether he would sink or swim, and they were not afraid to put him in that high-pressure situation with no shirt on, having him just, I guess, unleash this new gimmick or this character change, creative direction in front of everybody, in front of Michael Cole, who's one of the most tenured members of that management staff. They used it as a high-pressure situation to see if he could handle it, and WWE tested him in that promo. They either set him up for success or they set him up for failure, and in the end, Lars Sullivan sabotaged himself. They set him up for it, and he failed. He just couldn't handle the spotlight. His anxiety got the best of him. Now, according to Fightful Select, several wrestlers relayed the idea that Vince McMahon wouldn't see Sullivan the same way after his adult movies had surfaced online. Wrestlers told us that there was no way Vince McMahon would look at him the same after the video released. Sullivan had been a favorite of McMahon's upon his call-up in 2019. Sullivan received pro wrestling training at the Performance Center, so he could be a very valuable asset to another company if they so desired. I don't know if he's going to end up in pro wrestling or if he's going to move on to another venture. I don't know. So we'll have to see where he ends up next. But in the past week or so, he started to reappear on social media with, again, intense workout videos. So who knows what he has planned for the future. At this point, I don't really think anybody cares about Lars Sullivan, Dylan Miley. Now, Ringside News went on to finally say that the book is not closed on Sullivan, yet he is actually still training at the Performance Center, which isn't unheard of because I believe the situation is even if you are released by the WWE within that 90-day non-compete, you are able to work at the Performance Center, train out at the Performance Center, and after that 90 days is up, that is when you move on. That is the understanding that I am familiar with. And if that's not right, somebody correct me down in the comments section, but I do think that is the case. I mean, this is less of a sad situation than the Steve Cutler situation when WWE released him for being an example and using COVID as their reason to fire him. Lars Sullivan was very detrimental to WWE's public relations look. He was. And it was a situation that WWE was very patient. You can't say that WWE was not patient. They tried. I mean, after all the racist and homophobic shit that he said on the bodybuilding forums, and the shit that he said about Stephanie McMahon, and the shit that he said about Jeff Hardy, and all that stuff, he went away. And at that time, he was injured. So he was also rehabilitating, but he wasn't on TV. He was off TV for the injury, but WWE also was nailing him with fines, and they had him take, sensitivity training or whatever the case may be. So he had the injury, and he was rehabilitating with that. But then he comes back. WWE gives him another opportunity to be on TV. All that stuff maybe had died down a little bit. Then he gets back to TV, and all of a sudden, we get these adult films. These adult films with the same sex that Lars Sullivan appeared in. And I don't really understand why this was a thing. I really don't. The guy's back on TV, and someone willingly went out there and found these videos to purposely bring more heat onto him, to purposely take him down in a hate-filled agenda. Now, I don't understand why someone would go and do that. What the fuck did he do to you? People take great pleasure in seeing others fail. And that might have been the straw that broke this guy's back, to be quite honest with you. That's how dirty, that's how scummy, that's how fucked up the human race is. This guy knows he did wrong. He was injured. He tried to get back to be in the best shape of his life. WWE gave him another opportunity. You didn't agree with WWE's mentality on it. So you found a way to take this guy down after this guy is trying to make himself a better person. You want to fucking raise the dirt up again and bring all that past and hurtful shit back in his direction to take him down for whatever agenda you have out there against Lars Sullivan. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. I'm not saying that I stand with Lars Sullivan and he shouldn't have been fired. This is WWE giving him chance and chance and chance. If you're not going to really pay off and I'm not going to see a return on my investment here and you're going to constantly let me down, then I'm cutting ties with you. They did the right business move. How many times can you give someone an opportunity and they just fucking let you down? So they let him sit there and they were contemplating, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They let him go. It's the right move. It's the right move. How many more opportunities can this guy, how many more chances can this guy get? But the simple fact that people went out there and raised more dirt on this guy and brought more dirt in his way and took him down in a hateful way, that's what I have a problem with. How the fuck do you know what this guy's doing? You don't think he's remorseful? You don't think he is sorry for everything that he said? Or maybe he's trying to be a better person? I know you'll probably come back with the, well, once a racist, always a racist, JD. You can't change people like that. How the fuck do you know? How the fuck do you know? We've all made mistakes of all magnitudes in our life. Who the fuck are you to tell somebody they will never have a chance to redeem themselves? Are you our Lord and Savior? Because if you're standing there next to Jesus Christ, I'd love to see the fucking selfie you took with him. You have no fucking right to tell anybody what they should be doing. Or no right to tell somebody you're not owed a second chance. Give me a fucking break. How the fuck do you know if this guy wasn't remorseful and sorry about what he did? You don't fucking know what that guy's thinking when he's behind closed doors. When he's sitting by himself. No, but let's find dirt on him and fucking ruin him because we hate him. We want to see someone fail, ha 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 ha, as you're sitting there in your fucking 8-day-old crusty underwear. Give me a break. Social media and our fucking race are trash. Trash. Does he deserve to be fired? He did it to himself. He's his own worst enemy. He needs help. Instead of fucking burying him even further, why don't we try to fucking help the guy? Moving on. Edge. Another reason to get fucking angry. Edge. Edge apparently pitched himself out of the Randy Orton situation for a match at WrestleMania for the world title and winning the Royal Rumble. Now, as we all know, Edge won the 2021 Royal Rumble. I don't know if this is legit or not, but I'm going to throw it out there for you. The Dirty Sheets and Bill Body talked about this situation on their podcast. Now, I have no reason to believe that Bill is lying. I don't know where he gets his information from, but I know Bill as being a good guy. As far as what he delivers, I don't think he's a type of guy that goes out there and puts shit out there just for the sake of putting it out there to be cool or edgy or whatnot. I do think that he's got some sources, okay? Now, I don't know if this is legit or not, but I went back and watched, and it's right there in front of you if you guys want to go and watch it, in the moment in which Seth Rollins got eliminated. Edge turned around, and there was this 2-second moment of, oh my God, I fucked up, written all over his face. And Rollins desperately trying to grab the ropes, and then he ended up getting eliminated. The Dirty Sheets stated that it was Seth Rollins that was scheduled to win the Royal Rumble, and that Vince McMahon changed his mind late in the day because if you guys were on the news and rumor sites, or if you guys are into the Vegas betting odds, which I don't know why people would bet on pro wrestling. There's just so much insider fucking back and forth that it could change on a dime. One thing could be the same thing for 4 weeks, and then come the day of the show, you already got your money on something that you thinking really know is going to happen, and then they change it. It's all rigged. It's a rigged system. I don't even know why you would want to bet on pro wrestling. But the situation of Rollins winning the Royal Rumble, he was actually favored to win the Royal Rumble via the Vegas betting odds. And his name went up as far as statistically being the guy late in the day. So somebody clearly got ticked off. Or tipped off, rather. Not ticked off. But people were tipped off as far as Rollins winning the Royal Rumble. Now, if you go back and watch, Edge eliminated Seth Rollins, and he tried to skin the cat. And there was a moment where he tried to hold on to the ropes, and he was eliminated. There was this 2-second, oh my God, I fucked up, written all over Edge's face, and then they went to a quick audible with Edge winning the Royal Rumble and eliminating Randy Orton after the RKO. And Edge was the winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble. Now, the idea with Rollins winning it is that Vince wanted to go with Rollins versus Reigns at WrestleMania, and they wanted to use Rollins coming back as a heel only to be turned back into a babyface by Reigns, and they were going to use the Rollins now a father having a newborn baby with Becky as the whole backstory to this, turning him into a babyface and changing his life and having him look at life in a different way. And Roman obviously would do what he usually does, and he would work with somebody from his past in Rollins, and they would obviously bring up the old Shield days and the fact that Rollins is not the same. Rollins really never went anywhere as far as Reigns is concerned, that Reigns continued to prove more and more that he's obviously the one out of that group that was groomed for greatness while everybody else is just teetering on mediocrity. Whatever the case may be, they were going to use Rollins becoming a father as the foundation for this storyline. Now, I could see it, and I would be a betting man and win handsomely and say that Rollins and Reigns is absolutely scheduled for this year for the Universal title on SmackDown, and that will be the foundation of their storyline. And if it is, we may be getting whatever the Dirty Sheets is reporting to be actual fact just a little bit later down the road and not at WrestleMania. So go back and watch that situation. Let me know what you guys think about that. Again, it's all speculation. But I watched it and I could see where he's coming from. I don't know who his sources are. I don't know if it's legit or not. I mean, take everything with a grain of salt. But that's what he reported. As far as Edge, WWE planned for Randy Orton and Edge to face each other at WrestleMania this year. That was the plan as of late last year. Edge wanted another gimmick match against Randy Orton, but those plans changed. Now, during Wrestling Observer Live, Meltzer revealed that it was Edge who pitched the change of plans for himself. Obviously, Vince McMahon liked the idea, so he put things in motion for Edge to receive a much different WrestleMania moment this year. Now, he says, and I quote, does Meltzer, "They were going to do an I Quit match at WrestleMania, and Edge, in fact, got this idea of coming back and winning the Royal Rumble and maybe winning the championship. Maybe winning the championship. Maybe being the key word there. And they had to get past this Randy Orton thing, and this is how they did it. At the Rumble, and then into Monday Night Raw, Edge won the Rumble by eliminating Orton. Orton shows up on Monday, has a problem, cuts a promo on Edge. They have a match. Alexa interferes in their match, has blood dripping from the mouth. Edge does what he does, and he beats Randy Orton, and that is the end of their storyline. So this was all pitched by Edge. Him finishing Randy in the Rumble, and him beating Randy on Monday. Edge is a part of the Monday Night Raw creative team. Edge is pitching himself to win the Royal Rumble. Edge is pitching himself to go to WrestleMania and challenge for a world title in hopes of maybe winning it. I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. WWE, earlier this week, had speculated, or it is speculated, that the report is Reigns and Edge is the main event for WrestleMania. That is the current plan, the current direction in which WWE is going. WWE placed Edge in a spotlight role for WrestleMania 37 after winning the Royal Rumble, and his opponent is rumored to be Roman Reigns. Edge is set to face Reigns at WrestleMania 37. He teased going after McIntyre on Raw. He teased going after Finn Balor and the NXT title on Wednesday's episode of NXT, and he's going to be showing up. As I record this, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. As of right now, by my watch, he will be on SmackDown in 4 hours. What he's doing on SmackDown, and when you guys watch this on Saturday, what he has done on SmackDown remains to be seen. I don't know. But he could be teasing, going after, and confronting Roman Reigns like he did McIntyre and Balor, confronting Roman Reigns on SmackDown. Now, this will see Vince McMahon get his match that he wanted last year, but with a different performer. WWE was building Reigns versus Goldberg at WrestleMania last year before the pandemic hit, and they labeled it as Spear versus Spear, which I don't know if you're 3 years old. I don't know why that would interest you. That is the absolute fucking lamest thing you could possibly build a match around. Hey, man, we got Spear versus Spear. I wouldn't even make that a fucking aspect of the match outside of what Edge has already talked about. Why would you even bring that to the limelight? That should be something in passing that commentary mentions during the match. You're going to build a fucking match around, hey, man, this guy's got a spear for a finisher. Hey, man, this other guy's got a spear for a finisher. Hey, look, it's Spear versus Spear for the Universal title. Who gets excited about that? Why would you even bother? So, it was supposed to be Goldberg and Reigns. This year, they're getting Edge and Reigns, Spear versus Spear. Same thing. Now, according to The Observer and the newsletter, WWE is set on Edge versus Reigns, but according to Meltzer, they have not landed on picking out a winner for that match just yet. They have not decided on a winner as of right now for this match. Now, first of all, the match is not even confirmed. Okay, Meltzer's going out there and saying that this is going to be the main event of WrestleMania. We don't even have the match as confirmed. So, unless WWE is going to announce this match, at that point, I don't even think picking a winner is a logical thing to do when you know that they're still contemplating on what Edge is going to be doing at WrestleMania. But this is my fucking point. If this is an idea for WrestleMania, there is only one winner that you could possibly go with, and it's not Edge. So if the match is made or the match is not made, it's the same fucking outcome. Roman Reigns is not losing the Universal title. And if there's anybody on that writing team, if there's anybody that wears a suit and tie in the back that's contemplating Reigns dropping the title to a 47-year-old part-timer, you have mental fucking problems. Clearly, I swear to God, man, if Reigns loses this championship, this will be the stamp of all stamps on WWE not wanting to build for the fucking future. Now, at this time, while not announced, one of the WrestleMania main events will be Edge challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Edge winning was for the storyline that Edge retired as champion. Now he's come back and he's looking to regain the title that he never lost to culminate his return. Right now, there is no plan regarding who wins this match. Ringside News exclusively reported in November that Daniel Bryan is going above and beyond what he needs to do as a writer. He's sitting in Gorilla, and he's learning other aspects about production. He's also mentoring other talent. He's also putting over other talent. On SmackDown, he's lost several matches. Why is that? Because that's his choice. He chooses to lose for the betterment of SmackDown. Edge isn't really doing any of these things that Daniel Bryan is doing on SmackDown in his role on Raw. The Wrestling Observer newsletter further noted that the differences between Edge and Daniel Bryan are vast. It's quite evident by how they are booked on television as well. It is notable, and the difference is visible with Edge and Daniel Bryan on the creative team. It was notable that they were two people who got substantial interview time leading to the match, but Edge, at 47 years old, was pushing for a main event title shot, while Bryan, 39, in his position, was pushing constantly to get other people over. Ringside News previously reported that Edge is also pulling for a match against Daniel Bryan. That might be a very interesting match to see, especially if you take the fact that they are both members of the writing team and take that into consideration. I don't know what to say on top of what I've already stated here, but I want you guys to understand something, okay? Edge is a part of the Monday Night Raw writing team. This might not be a thing as far as the casual viewing audience is concerned, okay? I don't see why a casual would give a shit about Edge being on the writing team or in creative on Monday Night Raw. You and I know it. You and I know it. This is my living. This is my job. I'm supposed to know it. I'm here to tell you guys the information that I know and relay it to you guys and give you my opinion of what I think of it. That's the way we do things here. That's the way everybody does things here. But I want you to understand, for everybody that is for this match right now, and you willingly know that information, that makes you a culprit in the situation, and that makes you even worse than the people writing this fucking show. Because you are actively trying to kill the show because you're also in the boat of not wanting to push younger talent. You're in the boat of giving those who don't deserve it opportunity that they've once had in the past over people who've never had an opportunity. Now, again, I don't know what else I could possibly say in this situation. All I know is Edge getting a title shot at WrestleMania is not the right way to go about it. You ain't selling me on spear versus spear. I'm not a fucking 4-year-old boy that walks into an ice cream shop and gets excited about all 32 fucking flavors behind the glass. Mommy, can I have a little bit of that, please? Sprinkles, chocolate sauce? Can I have a waffle cone? And then your mother says no, and then you bitch and moan because she wants to give you something healthy. This doesn't excite me. This doesn't excite me whatsoever. I don't know why it even makes sense to you fucking people. It just goes hand in hand that the community is lacking fucking knowledge. What exactly is there between Reigns and Edge? Nothing. There's nothing there. He's coming back for the title that he never lost. The title that he never lost doesn't exist anymore. So right then and there, there's a big logic gap. Yeah, he's never held the Universal Championship. But I don't see why this match makes more sense than him versus Drew McIntyre unless WWE has some bigger fucking plan for Drew McIntyre, which at that same point, we don't know yet. It could be a multitude of guys. But if you want Edge and Reigns, you better pray, I hope you got somebody lined up for Drew McIntyre that makes sense. Now, Edge and Roman Reigns in their storyline, it doesn't make sense, not only because of that aspect, but I don't know how you could possibly choose that over Daniel Bryan and the story that existed for 6 years with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan should have won the 2014 Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan, by all accounts, should have won the 2015 Royal Rumble. He didn't, because of WWE's ineptness to listen to the fans. So they went with Batista, which was a god-awful decision, and the fans let them have it. And then they went with Reigns, and the fans let them have it. They didn't listen. And the reason why Reigns was booed is because the WWE did not give Daniel Bryan that opportunity to win the Rumble when he was the one everybody wanted. That is a moment that will live in infamy on Reigns' storied career. That's the one moment that you're going to look back on that you say to yourself, Roman, he was here and then he went nowhere but here, down. All because of Daniel Bryan. All because of Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement. And I don't know how you could take that and not want that over Edge. What exactly is there for Edge? Oh, a part-time guy who's coming back and he's in light of a 9-year absence in WWE, wants to come back and win the Royal Rumble and win the Universal title and take down the evil Roman Reigns. How many times have we seen that before? How many times have we seen that story told before? How many times do you want to see that moving forward? There's not many more people to do it with, and I'll tell you what, Edge is not the guy to be doing that with because he's accumulated a career that fucking 99% of this industry would love to have 1/10 of. He don't need it. He didn't need the Rumble. He don't need Mania. He don't need a title. Now, granted, the match itself, if it does happen, the promos between him and Reigns, the promos between him and Heyman, maybe getting Christian involved, it's going to be fantastic. I know, I'm not an idiot. But what everybody is saying and what's pissing me off is the fact that you people want Edge to take down Roman Reigns. You want Roman Reigns and the body of work that he's accumulated, the best body of work that this guy has done in his entire life as an on-screen character. You want for him to put over Edge. Now, if Edge is smart, Edge will put over Roman because Edge gets it. He's not like all these fucking part-timers that want to come on in here and grab that spotlight one more time. He wants to put over Roman, and him putting over Roman, he would know that if Roman beats him at Mania, that Roman's going to be a bigger heel for it because he would have crushed the dream of the returning legend wanting that one final title that he never had. If that is what he's planning, then so be it. I'll accept it. But if Edge is booking himself to win the Rumble, what is the possibility of this guy booking himself, getting in Vince's ear to take the title off of Roman? We can't have that happen. Why would you want Roman to put over a 47-year-old Edge when Roman could continue to be built up and someone young comes along and takes that title off of Roman Reigns and them, because of everything Roman has done and built, bestows that to somebody else, and they are a megastar for it. Because when Roman goes undefeated for how many fucking years, and someone comes along and beats him and is now claiming the head of the table on SmackDown, you don't think that person's going to be a bigger star for it? This is the same reason why I was so against The Undertaker losing to fucking Brock Lesnar. I got the idea of Lesnar taking The Undertaker streak because he's believable. He's the most legit athlete in the fucking company. But the only reason why it happened was because WWE was in a new market developing this new streaming service, and they wanted to put it out there that anything can happen. Sign up! Otherwise, you're going to be missing things like this. And they took the streak and they took it for granted to sell a fucking network that ultimately failed. And what did it get them? $1 billion deal. That's all WWE's back catalog is worth nowadays. And they never accumulated over 1.6 fucking million people. That 2 million, 2.5 million mark was not even close. So they took what was most important to their characters, to their programming, to their storylines, to their every week product, and they killed it in hopes people would sign up with that mentality in mind. And they didn't. I look at this as another version of the streak. Why would you waste it on nothing? Did Lesnar need it? Does Edge need it? No. Edge does not need it. For everybody that wants Edge to take the title off Roman, you would rather Edge take the title off of Roman instead of a Big E? Instead of a Keith Lee? Or a Matt Riddle? Or anybody? And I honestly got to tell you, there's nobody on this roster that I would even book to take the title off Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is the best at what he's doing right now in the entire industry. And if you're the best, there's no way you should be losing titles. Roman is the champion because he's the best. And until someone shows that they are better, or at least on equal playing fields to Roman Reigns, you shouldn't even be contemplating Roman Reigns losing that championship. And Edge is not that. Sorry to tell you. Sorry to break your hearts out there. Edge is not it. Now, I would have gladly taken Edge as the WWE champion, beating Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Orton beating McIntyre, which I really didn't agree with then. I still didn't agree with it now. They only did it to get that match with Reigns at Survivor Series. If Orton was still the champion going into Mania and Edge won the Rumble, and that match was the culmination of everything that they did storyline-wise, leading to him coming back from injury, coming back from the loss, winning the Rumble, coming back and getting revenge on Orton and taking the one thing that he found most valuable in his life, the WWE title, that's a different story. Orton dropping the title to Edge is okay. Because Randy Orton dropping the title to Edge would have been the culmination of their story. Edge taking the title from Roman is sabotaging not only Roman, but SmackDown as a show, as a whole. I don't see how this makes sense to anybody. And if you're out there clipping my fucking shows, you didn't clip the right fucking thing, geeks. Because there's no way that you watched my Monday Night Raw review, and I know you did, and you heard me talk about this same exact fucking thing on Monday. You didn't clip none of that. You clipped what I said at the Survivor Series, and you took what I said there, which was 98% positive, so go fuck yourself. JD hates on WWE. Nah! Not this year. Not this year, folks. You picked the wrong review to fucking spew your narrative. 98% positive. You took that and clipped that, but you didn't clip the Monday Night Raw show because you know every aspect and every fucking fact that I gave you on that Monday Night Raw live stream. There's no way you could combat that at all. Oh, I can't make JD look like an asshole in this clip. I gotta take the other clip. And even then, what did I say that was so wrong? I never advocated for Daniel Bryan to take the title from Roman Reigns. I want the better story. That's what it boils down to. I never once, in this entire fucking argument, stated that I wanted Daniel Bryan to win the WWE Universal title. I just want a culmination of the story that we all fell in love with 6 years ago And I want the reason why Roman Reigns was fucking buried by fans as the major focus of that storyline. That's what I want. You see, at the end of the day, no matter how many people talk shit about me, folks, at the end of the day, I sit here knowing that everything that I say, I am 100% right on, whether you want to agree on that or not. Everything that I spew is from my heart. It is passion. It's because I want a better product. WrestleMania is a shit show more times than not. WrestleMania has become one of the worst shows of the year that WWE produces because they just build the name to be this ungodly-like fucking thing. And everything else is just secondary or third rate, fourth rate, fifth rate. Everything else that's on the card doesn't even matter. They bring in fucking aging legends to aid in building the show up because they don't have any trust in anybody under the age of fucking 50. All I want is WrestleMania to be the best WrestleMania that it could be. We need to start thinking with that mentality in mind. If you do Edge and Roman Reigns, Edge and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, who exactly are you leaving for Drew McIntyre? Who exactly are you leaving for Drew McIntyre? By that account, you're making WrestleMania already worse than what it should be. If Edge gets Roman Reigns, who exactly does Drew McIntyre get? Sheamus? Sheamus is great. Sheamus is not a main event guy. He may think he's a main event guy. You may think he's a main event guy, but I look at that as a main event for a B-level pay-per-view, not WrestleMania. I'll even take that at SummerSlam. And by all accounts, it doesn't really make Drew McIntyre look like a Scottish warrior when he's crying over losing his fucking friend. I don't know whether he's a pussy or a fighting champion warrior that WWE portrays him to be. Guy's fucking crying he lost a 20-year relationship with Sheamus. Get tough! You're the champion! People will fucking kill to have that payday. Yet you want to sit there and cry. You want to see Drew McIntyre crying his way to WrestleMania? I don't. Would you see Austin or Dwayne cry their way to WrestleMania? No. Or The Undertaker or Shawn Michaels cry their way? No. Sheamus ain't it. Keith Lee? For everybody that got on me, oh, Daniel Bryan's doing the Macarena, or whatever the fuck you guys want to bring to the table as far as why he shouldn't be getting a title shot. What has Keith Lee done? For everybody that's advocating for Keith Lee to get a title shot against Drew McIntyre, what has he done? He's been buried on Monday Night Raw. I'll tell you that much. He doesn't really come off as a world championship caliber athlete on Monday night. John Cena? If Edge and Roman happens because WWE somehow has John Cena and Drew McIntyre lined up, I'll back off a little bit. But we don't know what's happening. And that match I'd take. But I just don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening. In fact, I wish you could roll reverse here. Edge gets Drew and Roman gets John Cena. That makes WrestleMania better. Because at least Roman and Cena have history. Chasing number 17 against the new tribal chief? Sounds a lot better than whatever Edge has going on against Roman. But if Edge and Roman happens, WWE better have John Cena lined up for Drew McIntyre, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know what John Cena would be doing at WrestleMania. Who else they got on Monday Night Raw? Randy Orton, he's busy with The Fiend. AJ Styles, they did that in December. What makes you think people want to see that now? Brock Lesnar? You mean to tell me that you got Edge wrestling Roman Reigns because you want to bring Brock Lesnar back against Drew? What hasn't Drew done already to Brock Lesnar that is going to be any different? Why would you go and do that again? Lesnar put over Drew last year. He's the champion going into Mania this year. What more does Lesnar need to do? That's just a mishandling of Brock Lesnar at that point, and you really can't have him lose to Drew McIntyre again. And why would you want him to come back and win the title again? Undoing everything you did with Drew the year before and during the year, as he carried Monday Night Raw on his back. Doesn't make sense. Jinder Mahal? If Edge challenges Roman, then Monday Night Raw gets the Chamber in February. On February 21st. Does Jinder get Drew? As he already stated, he wants Drew McIntyre in a championship match at WrestleMania. That is no secret. So you mean to tell me that Jinder versus Drew is going to make a better WrestleMania with Edge and Roman on the opposite side, instead of Edge and Drew McIntyre and Bryan Roman? You mean to tell me that Edge battling Roman is going to make for a better WrestleMania, right? Because Drew will get Lesnar or Drew will get Jinder Mahal. On what planet do you live? Fucking moron planet. That's where you live. Don't even know why half of you fucking cretins even talk pro wrestling, because you don't know your elbow from your fucking asshole. WrestleMania should be the best show possible. The best show you could put on. If that also means Bianca doesn't get Sasha right now and she gets Asuka just because Asuka has nobody. You want to do Bianca versus Asuka and then Sasha versus somebody else, whether it be a Rhea, whether it be a Bayley, that makes WrestleMania a better card as a whole. If you give Edge Roman and you give Bianca Sasha, who exactly are you going to put Asuka in the ring with? Who exactly are you going to put Drew McIntyre in the ring with? Do you see where I'm going with this? I don't understand you people. And then for all the people that are claiming, oh, Edge is going to choose Finn Balor and he's going to challenge for the NXT title. What makes you think it can't happen, JD? Charlotte did it last year. In fact, Rhea challenged Charlotte, not the other way around. And that didn't make sense then, and this doesn't make sense now. Why would Edge win the Royal Rumble to challenge Finn Balor for the NXT title? Oh, well, it's a title he never lost. You could fucking swing it and manipulate it any which way you want. It doesn't make sense. And Edge didn't win the Royal Rumble to challenge Finn Balor on a show that could barely get 620,000 with him in the fucking program. Edge is not challenging Finn Balor. And Edge is part-time. Another thing, everybody's saying, oh, Edge is part-time. Edge is part-time. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Then there are others. Oh, Edge is full-time. Edge is full-time. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. If Edge wins the WWE title, I assume he will take the role of Lesnar 2.0. He won't be there every single fucking week like Roman is. Edge is on TV now. He's on Monday, he's on Wednesday, he's on Friday. Why do you think that is, folks? AEW effect? I'm assuming that's one of the main reasons. That's a priority reason why Edge is on TV. Oh, look, we got Edge. We could do the same thing that Charlotte did. She could show up on NXT last year with Rhea. Edge could do the same thing this year against Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. And maybe we can have him interfere and come face-to-face and cross paths with Karrion Kross. They used Edge until they could squeeze no more drops out of that fucking sponge. Because they had the opportunity to do so, and AEW was in the back of their mind. Hey, we could use Edge on this show. We got nothing going on against their themed show. Let's put him on the fucking show. But why do you think Edge is working Monday, Wednesday, Friday, back to Monday again? Rinse and repeat until he makes this decision. And why is he going to be on every show leading up to WrestleMania to sell this program like he already stated he will? Why do you think that is, folks? Was Edge on TV? Was Edge on TV every week when he got injured? Storyline-wise. Was he on TV every week when he made his appearance at the Royal Rumble last year? No, he wasn't. He was only contracted for 25 dates. He was contracted as a part-time guy under a 3-year deal. He was out all of 2020. WWE needs their return on investment. WWE is giving this guy additional dates that he was never going to work last year, this year, because they missed Edge for 9 months. So when you think Edge is shilling to you, oh, if I'm going to be in a title program, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to be there every single week. Yeah, because WWE's adding dates to your fucking contract because you missed 9 months of the year last year. Oh, but Edge is part-time. How do you feel now about Edge winning the Rumble, being that he's going to be a full-time guy? He's not a full-time guy. Full-time, in quotations, full-time. He's full-time for WrestleMania season. He's not full-time all 2021. You ain't getting one by me, bitch. Give me a fucking break. I think at the end of this, how many fucking eyes did I open? When I rant about something for this long, and this detailed, without stuttering, you know I damn well mean it. Edge has the opportunity to show everybody the legend, the true legend he is. Is he going to be a legend that has the future of this business in mind? Is he going to be the legend that looks at Roman as the future, the biggest heel in the industry, and making him bigger than he is now? Or is he going to be like every single fucking senior citizen motherfucker that should be in an old age home? Everybody else that comes back when the WrestleMania sun fucking rises. Is he be one of these old legends that comes back and is selfish, booking himself to win the Rumble, take the title from somebody that, in all honesty, should not be losing the championship at all this year? Which legend is Edge going to be? What is his legacy going to be? The one where he has the future in mind, or the one in which he's selfish, just like everybody else that comes back for that big WrestleMania payday? The only thing I want to see if this match happens, besides Roman losing, is Miles Kennedy and Alter Bridge playing him down and playing Metalingus on his way to the ring live in Tampa. That's the only thing that I want to see. It's been long enough since WWE has not had Edge played out to the ring with Alter Bridge there, knowing that we all know that they sing his theme song. That's the only thing I want to see come WrestleMania if this is the match that we're getting. Other than that, Roman should remain untouchable. Which legend will Edge be? He has the ultimate power. Do you love him enough to think he's going to do the right thing? And if he doesn't do the right thing, how much respect are you going to have for him? That's the biggest question of all. Guys, I just want to say, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so very much for sticking with me right here on Off the Script. We have a lot more to go over today, including all the news coming out of Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, NXT, and Friday Night SmackDown. So stick with me right here on Off the Script, episode 363. I also want to thank my sponsor for today's show, The Ridge. And you guys know about The Ridge, man. You should be familiar with The Ridge right here on OTS. They are back with me sponsoring today's show and will be with me all WrestleMania season. That is The Ridge, ridge.com/script10 to save your 10% off by using our unique link. I know here in New York City, man, indoor dining is going to be opening up pretty soon. On Valentine's Day, to be exact. And I don't want you guys taking your lady out on Valentine's Day and you sit at the table or you're sitting at the bar and you pull out this decrepit old wallet. I want you guys to take your lady out in style, man. You can't do that without The Ridge. Can't do it. The Ridge is sponsoring today's show. It's light, it's sleek, it's industrial. It doesn't awkwardly bulge in your back pocket. And it seriously changed my entire outlook on wallets, man. Most people, I know, because I've seen it firsthand. Most people are still using wallets designed in the 90s, man. They're decrepit, they're old. Like I say, it's the George Costanza wallet from Seinfeld. If you guys have seen that episode where he's fumbling around with his big-ass wallet. Old room keys, pictures, old receipts, gift cards, unorganized mess. It's one big unorganized mess, man. Why have we moved on from large flip phones to the smartphones that we carry nowadays, but still carry around the same old, decrepit, disgusting wallet? Now, if you guys get The Ridge, man, this is what you're going to open yourself up to. 12 cards plus room for cash. It's more than enough. You got the cash strap or the money clip. There's over 30 colors and styles and designs. Me, I got the forged carbon. I think it's the best looking one out there. That's my choice. I love it, but don't take my word for it, man. They got over 30,000 5-star reviews on the Ridge wallet alone. The durable materials means each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. You could buy one wallet and own it for the rest of your life. This is from me to you. I've owned the Forged Carbon wallet for well over a year. Not one nick or scratch. It looks like it came right out of the factory it was made, man. It is still as beautiful as I seen it on day one. The Ridge team is also so confident that you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. If you don't like it, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you will get your money back, no questions asked. Guys, the other reason why I love it so much is that the Ridge wallet, it comes designed with RFID blocking qualities. It is going to keep you safe while you're out there from digital pickpocketers. It's awesome, man. All your information on your credit cards and your ID will be safe in the Ridge with that RFID blocking technology. You guys can get 10% off today plus free worldwide shipping using ridge.com/script10 at checkout. Use code script10 at checkout. You guys are going to do that, save yourself 10%, and look good while you're out to dinner with your lady on Valentine's Day, man, and tell them that JD gave you the recommendation. That is ridge.com/script10. Use code script10 at checkout to save yourself 10% off, and I want to thank them for supporting the podcast right here on Off the Scripts. All right, man, let's finish up this show here. We got some news coming out of all four brands during the week here. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Raw, NXT, AEW, and SmackDown. Let's start with SmackDown. The ratings for the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. By the way, the go-home show was terrible. It was absolutely ridiculous with what happened. They advertised. Actually, I'll get into it in a second. I don't even want to go over it. It was so terrible. But SmackDown, they stayed steady going into the Royal Rumble. They didn't really do anything extra to get you excited about the Royal Rumble, which, in my eyes, was a very good show on Sunday night. The ratings on Friday were 2.228 million viewers. That was down from the previous week, where the show did 2.282, and that was the go-home show edition of the Royal Rumble, like I said, this past Friday. As of yesterday, I don't know the ratings. That won't be released until Monday. The first hour saw a 2.294, and then hour two did a 2.161, and it also pulled in an average of a 0.60 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was good for number two on the night. That is the same 0.60 rating in the 18 to 49 the show did the week prior. And the show consisted of Bianca Belair defeating Bayley on her way to the Royal Rumble, which we all know she won the women's 30-woman Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens had a face-to-face, which was great. King Corbin defeated Dominic Mysterio. I still don't understand why Mysterio is feuding with King Corbin. And Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, I got excited for. And it somehow led to a 6-man tag, and then an 8-man tag, and then a 10-man tag, and a 12-man tag, and a mini Royal Rumble at the end of this fucking thing, which did nothing for nobody. It was the most nonsensical, illogical, Monday Night Raw-esque booking you'd see on SmackDown so far this year. And you don't want to emulate anything that happens on Monday night. Really, really shitty stuff, man. To a point where I actually called it Friday Night Raw. That's not a good look, Bruce. It's bad enough we got you on Monday. Now we got to do the same thing on Friday that we did on Monday? Please, give me a rest. I'm putting this in with the SmackDown news, being that the last time we seen Chelsea Green was on SmackDown. Fightful is reporting that Green is going through the process of being cleared. Now, it was noted that she has been preparing for a return and has not really been on television since in any capacity. She was seen not only at the Performance Center in Orlando over the course of this month, but she's working out at Robert Stone's gym alongside Britt Baker, Deonna Purrazzo, Santana Garrett, and Reba. Whatever you guys want to call Britt Baker's secretary. So Chelsea Green is getting ready to return to the WWE while her injury is healed up. She still has to go through WWE standard injury protocol before being deemed good to go. 2 months ago, if you guys remember, Green found herself on the sidelines once again after suffering an injury during her main roster debut, which should have never happened, Bruce. On an episode of SmackDown at the time, Green said that she had a broken arm, but it turned out to be a broken wrist. Again, remember when she made her way to NXT in her first match, I believe it was against Candice LeRae, she actually broke her wrist then too. So every time we've seen her debut somewhere, it's the wrist that goes. Green was supposed to win the 4-way match on that episode of SmackDown to win a spot on Team SmackDown at the Survivor Series. However, an audible was called, and Liv Morgan won because Green injured herself on a bad bump she took at ringside. Now, it turns out that Morgan was actually the original winner before the script was rewritten. So Chelsea Green got injured for absolutely no reason. And it was reported later that there were plans to give her the name Victorious for her main roster debut. Chelsea Victorious Green. I don't know how they're going to weasel that word into Chelsea Green, but it sounds too much like Glorious Bobby Roode. And we don't need to emulate that as far as Chelsea Green goes. She's too good to be given these ridiculous monikers. Just let her go out there and do her thing. She's beautiful. She knows how to wrestle. Put her in the fucking ring and let her get over. Please. It's not that difficult when you got somebody that fucking talented. AEW Dynamite. They beat NXT with their Beach Break special. NXT, they had a dismal week as far as the ratings go. And Adam Copeland did not do anything for the NXT ratings on Wednesday night. Now, AEW was up, while NXT was down. It looks like NXT last week got a little bit of a boost due to TNT having blackouts. I don't know where this happened, but some people in the United States had winding blackouts happen on TNT last week for Dynamite, and it was out up to about a half an hour, which prompted everybody to go over to NXT and watch what they were doing over there because they realized, hey, this is too long. It might not be coming back, and I might be out on Wednesday night watching Dynamite, so let me go watch NXT. So it looks like that blackout last week on TNT had something to do with AEW really being down and the ratings last week being so dead even, with AEW obviously getting the win. Now, AEW was up, NXT was down. It was AEW that took the ratings win here, 844,000 to NXT's 610,000 last week. It was very close, 734,000, and NXT did 720,000. AEW ranked number 3 in the top 150 on cable, which is awesome. NXT was at number 51, so they didn't even break the top 50. And the 18 to 49 demographic obviously went to AEW. That was a 0.32 to NXT's 0.15, and NXT did not chart in any other categories. AEW swept the field as far as all demographics are concerned. Now, Edge, I mentioned earlier, Edge, you know, he wasn't really advertised, so I got to give WWE a little break there. I don't think WWE even advertised him on Monday Night Raw for being on NXT. I think it was on social media, and you're not really going to get people's interest by only advertising Edge on social media for NXT. But this is what WWE does. If it was Charlotte Flair, it would have been all over Monday Night Raw. But you advertised Edge on social media instead of advertising him on Monday night. How many people did you expect to watch just based off what we've seen on social media and what was circulating online? You got to make sure all your bases are covered. So if they have anybody to blame themselves. WWE should be blaming themselves. They did not do enough to get people interested or in the know that Edge was going to be on NXT, teasing that he's going after the NXT title. But AEW, let's go over AEW first. They had the Tag Team Battle Royal. FTR was missing from the Battle Royal. We got the Young Bucks being eliminated in said Battle Royal, which went to Chris Jericho and MJF. They will be challenging the Young Bucks at Revolution on March 7th, live on pay-per-view. Lance Archer defeated Eddie Kingston in a lumberjack match. Can I just state to you how I fucking hate lumberjack matches? Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford had their wedding. Fun fact, they actually wed 3 days prior that weekend, and this was their actual ceremony. I did not know that. Some people were in the chat on Wednesday night's live stream saying that was the fact, and I didn't really know what to believe. In fact, you guys were right. So they were married before this, and this was actually their actual ceremony. Go figure. It was a trash segment. It started off interesting, and then it fell off a cliff. Rusev, whatever you want to call him, Miro, he needs to be doing more in AEW, but if he's happy, who the fuck are we to say anything to that man? We all know he should be somewhere, and he's not there at this moment. Adam Page and Matt Hardy teamed up. They defeated Dr. Luther and Serpentico, Jon Moxley, Pac, and Rey Fenix. They went up against the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. They fell in defeat to Omega and the Good Brothers, which then we seen the emergence of one Kenta from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's actually targeting Jon Moxley because Moxley is the IWGP United States champion, and Kenta is now going to be wrestling on Dynamite next week. Non-sanctioned, unsanctioned. It is a street fight. It is Moxley, and I believe they will be going up against Omega and Kenta. I believe it's Moxley and Lance Archer, if I'm not mistaken. It escaped me for a second. It's Moxley and Lance Archer, because Lance Archer came out to maybe save the day. He'd thrown himself into this thing, and we got Moxley and Archer versus Kenta and Omega in a non-sanctioned AEW street fight. That's interesting. That's opening up a world of possibilities, and it's got speculation running wild on what AEW is doing, man. Awesome stuff there. And then Thunder Rosa, she fell to Britt Baker on Dynamite, and I'm assuming with the ending of that match, which saw Britt Baker kind of cheat and use fuckery due to the turnbuckle being exposed, and then the lockjaw on Thunder Rosa, maybe we get this match happening again at Revolution. So we'll see what happens with that. NXT was all right. We are winding down the Dusty Classic. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez defeated Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. They are in the finals of the tournament and will win the Women's Dusty Classic, and rightfully so. There's no other team in that tournament that should win that Dusty Cup. Austin Theory defeated Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff is, to me, he's just get off my TV television. He's get off my TV worthy, to be honest with you. Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano the way got this thing going on with Kushida. Then you throw Dexter Lumis into the mix. Lumis is stalking the way. So we'll see what happens with that. Legado del Fantasma defeated Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado. And then Edge, the big story. Edge puts Finn Balor and Pete Dunne on notice. Whoever wins this match, he will be contemplating coming after the NXT title. They even put over Karrion Kross in a big way with him getting in Edge's face as Edge was leaving the Capitol Wrestling Center. That was a great segment between Edge, Finn Balor, and Pete Dunne. He put over both guys. Incredible. And it was easily the best segment on the show. I love Edge. I really do. No matter how many times I've talked about this particular situation and his role at WrestleMania, he is still one of my all-time favorites. He is easily one of the best promos in the industry right now. Always has been. Seems like he's gotten better with age, like a fine wine. But I can't see him challenging for the NXT title. And I just think it's merely being used as a ratings thing, because they can do it. They need every excuse in the book to maybe boost NXT against AEW in the ratings. But he's not challenging for the NXT title. He's not. That's Balor's title, and I got news on that will not be concerning Edge in just a second. Toni Storm defeated Jessi Kamea by disqualification. She's got that match, does Toni Storm, at the pay-per-view TakeOver Vengeance Day against Io Shirai and Mercedes Martinez in a triple threat match. Santos Escobar defeated make-believe or cosplay Heath Slater in Kurt Stallion. That's exactly what it looks like to me. This was a Cruiserweight Championship match. Apparently, Karrion Kross and Scarlett are stalking Legado del Fantasma. More importantly, Mr. Escobar himself. TikTok. I don't really understand what's going on here. I really don't. Kross emerged anyway to lay waste to Wilde and Mendoza and let Escobar know that time is running out. TikTok, he says. TikTok. I don't know why they're feuding or when this match is going to happen. Is Kross going to be the new Cruiserweight Champion? Are they going to give him all the belts? I don't know. It's just something for him to bide his time before he goes and takes that title off of Balor. And in the main event, Ciampa and Thatcher defeated the Undisputed Era in the Dusty Cup quarterfinal. Undisputed Era was ousted. And I feel bad for the UE because they got nothing to do right now on NXT on Wednesday nights. What does that mean? Adam Cole should be bred for a WrestleMania fucking main event for the next 5 years. That's how good that guy is. I don't know what the Undisputed Era are doing. They may spend their entire fucking time down in NXT without seeing a day on the main roster, which would probably be the best for them, but you are vastly underutilizing them at that point. And I don't think Adam Cole is going to be successful on the main roster. They'll take one look at him and forget about it. Bruce will bury him like they buried everybody else called up from NXT. So Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa, this makeshift team that was once rivals, now friends in this tournament, they are moving on. So that was the main event on NXT television. I got some NXT news and rumors, folks. Some interesting stuff. WWE is doing this thing with Cross and Edge on Wednesday night. And Cross pretty much told Edge, it's not who you are challenging for the title. It doesn't matter if it's you, it's Dunn, it's Balor. No matter who the champion is, the title's coming to me. So it's an inevitability. Doesn't matter who's the champion. So the reason they did this Karrion Kross thing on Wednesday night, they're grooming Kross for a main roster debut. When that happens, I have no idea, but I'll give you what I would do in a second. Now, Meltzer discussed this situation right now with Edge and Kross on NXT Wednesday night. He said that Kross is being groomed, and this segment was actually WWE grooming Karrion Kross for a main roster spotlight, while some other wrestlers in NXT might never receive this opportunity. He says, and I quote, Karrion Kross is being groomed for the main roster. Roderick Strong, who can work circles around Karrion Kross, might never be on the main roster. It's just how it is. They can't wait to get Kross on the main roster. He has to get through whatever he's getting through right now in NXT to get him there, but he's on the fast track to the main roster, end quote. Now, things slowed down for Kross. As you guys know, he had a separated shoulder. That slowed things down for him. He probably would have already been on the main roster. We don't know. But he's still on the fast track to get that call up to either Raw or SmackDown. That will certainly happen before a lot of other NXT superstars. I envision it happens before the end of the year. Kross, I even said it when he was injured. I don't know how you bring that guy, the way that he was presented on NXT, how you bring him back to NXT without putting him on the main roster. All Vince is going to do is look at him, his package, his presentation, Scarlett, and he's going to talk to Triple H. Why isn't this on the main roster? But then it goes to show you how good Triple H is at building for the future. You know? Triple H is doing everything right down there, for the most part. And WWE takes it for granted. But when a guy like Kross comes around, I find it hard to believe that he's not going to have a great run and how Vince is going to look at him and not want to push him. He's certainly going to get the rock star treatment on the main roster. He has to. He has to. Do you think this guy's going to end up like an Aleister Black? I don't think so. Kross is destined for greatness on the main roster. I do see him on the main roster by the end of the year. WWE has actually talked about the NXT title being defended at WrestleMania 37. Now, this is a situation that I would actually go out there and make happen for WrestleMania. WrestleMania is 2 nights. Now, WWE, I don't know how much they're really going in on this Wednesday Night War. They've done nothing with NXT to promote NXT. They don't really give a shit about NXT. But if WrestleMania is 2 nights and you don't have an accompanying takeover on WrestleMania weekend, which I think WWE is now in the full-fledged completion stages of moving NXT to its own Sunday nights away from main roster shows. I got my reason why they did that when they did that, but it's a 2-night show. And if it's going to happen at any point in the future, this year is probably the best time for WWE to include NXT on WrestleMania's card. And that match should obviously be for the NXT title. Now, Balor's got Dunn. Dunn is not winning the title. They're teasing Edge challenging Balor at WrestleMania. Edge is not challenging Finn Balor for the NXT title. If you're going to do an NXT title match, it's Balor versus Kross. Do you want to know why? Because Balor already was on the main roster, so he knows what he's doing up there, and WWE management and the fans are very familiar with Finn Balor. This is going to be a better Balor than the main roster has ever seen while he was up there the first time. So that's number one. Number two, against the NXT title in a very important spotlight, which right now I don't feel, even with Balor holding it, it's not as important as it used to be. And number three, it gets Kross on WrestleMania. It gets Kross in that venue, Raymond James Stadium, in front of fans for the first time since he's debuted on NXT. And it gets him in the eyes of everybody backstage. And when they see that, I would not be surprised if Finn Balor goes over and Kross makes his main roster debut the very next night on the Raw after Mania. So this is a win-win situation. It's good for the title. It's good for Balor. It's good for the brand. It's good for Cross. They get to see Cross on NXT. He gets called up to the main roster, where he should be. He should not be down in NXT. WrestleVotes reported on Friday that WWE officials have been talking about the NXT title being defended on one of the nights during the two-night WrestleMania show this year. However, those talks have not been finalized, and there's no word yet on the competitors in the match. Finn Balor is the current NXT champion, and he makes his next title defense, like I said, against Pete Dunne at TakeOver Vengeance Day on Valentine's Day next Sunday. It's been reported, based on what's been done on television, that Cross will likely challenge the winner of this match at a later date. There's no word yet on whether there will be a TakeOver special held the same weekend as WrestleMania. I don't think so. They've done everything to move away from that concept. This is the biggest show of the year, and all brands should obviously be represented. If you're not going to have a takeover to accompany that show, then the NXT title should at least be on that show for one of the major matches on that night, or night one, night two, whatever. I think that's the way to go. If there's any time for this concept to happen, it's this year. And it should be a concept moving forward. The NXT title, if you don't have a takeover, WrestleMania weekend, the NXT title should be defended at that show. It is one of your three major brands. Start treating it like a major brand and not like it's a redheaded stepchild. Like you want to disown it. You fucking take and abuse it and then throw it away. It's obviously your feeding system. So start treating it with some fucking respect, because that right there on that brand is your future. The NXT title should be defended at WrestleMania, and it starts this year. Balor, Cross, I don't see any negative in any of those situations. Austin Theory. Austin Theory is also being groomed for a return to the main roster. Meltzer also talked about Theory's booking in NXT. He said the company is already positioning him to make another move back to the main roster very soon. He says, and I quote, "They clearly have plans for Austin Theory because of his physique, although he was already on the main roster and then they sent him back down. Now they're grooming him to come back. Whatever, it wasn't the worst thing in the world to send him back down there, but in the end, it's great experience to work with somebody like Johnny Gargano, who he himself is a great worker. They're definitely, and you could see that they're grooming him to get out of there very, very soon," end quote. So we'll see what happens with Austin Theory. Was the second time back down in NXT the charm to see how good he really is? I don't think he really has spent enough time down there to really do what he needs to do. He was off TV for a lot of that time because he was ousted in the speaking out movement. So they kind of kept him in the shadows a little bit, and then they decided to bring him back. But I don't think he is in bad standing, because NXT and management down there are not going to take him, who was ousted in the speaking out movement, and put him with somebody that there is just universal love for in Johnny Gargano. Everybody on that brand and everybody in management adores Johnny Gargano. You are not going to see any of those people do bad when it comes to Johnny Gargano. So if you're Austin Theory and you're being paired with the heart and soul of that company on that brand, then that's a good thing. So they might not be looking at you in a negative way like half of everybody else was looking at you. So it's a very interesting situation. He's only 23 years old. What is the rush? Get this guy some knowledge and some tutelage under Johnny Gargano. Have him break out on his own. Have him win a North American title first. Have him challenge for NXT championship somewhere down the line in the next year and a half. What is the rush to bring him up to the main roster? You don't even use half of the fucking people you got up there now. Now you want to add Austin Theory? So what, he gets lost in the fucking sea of talent that's not being used? What makes him more deserving than a guy that you got up there that you're not using, that should have been used well before him? Keep him in NXT. There's no grooming that's necessary. The grooming that Austin Theory needs hasn't even fucking happened yet. Cross is a different story. He's 36 years old. You got to strike now. Theory's 23. You got at least 2 years with Theory. I don't get why NXT needs to have their wings plucked out every single time something good happens to them. Let it fucking sit. You can't pull everybody. Austin Theory should remain on NXT. No question. I got news on this situation with New Japan and AEW. I was going to save this for Jesse, but I might as well talk about it now on Wednesday. I was going to save it for Wednesday, but we're going to talk about it now because it's a big deal. And Meltzer talked about it immediately after Wednesday's show was over. Dave Meltzer talked about AEW and New Japan having a working relationship, and he talked about this after Wednesday's Dynamite. He says this, and I quote, "The deal is done, and the two sides have a working relationship. The pandemic probably sped things up, but it also holds it back at the same time. The only way to get Moxley was to make a deal. When AEW first started, New Japan had no clue how to be successful with an American promotion. And they had no clue how successful AEW would be. There are a lot of things about it. There was really a lot of childish stuff that got in the way. And even when I tell people they don't want to believe it, it was essentially they wanted Tony Khan to come and see them, and he didn't. And even though they sent Chris Harrington, and even though the Young Bucks were the office, and they were ready to make the deal, New Japan thought that they were fly-by-nighters, and it's not going to mean anything, and they just kind of big-leagued them. So I don't know exactly what the fly-by-nighters, maybe New Japan looked at AEW and thought to themselves, this is a one-hit wonder. It's not going to have a long-lasting effect. And I could see that in the eyes of New Japan. They don't want to jump in bed with something that is a possible failure. Why would you jump into something not knowing how successful it's going to be, ultimately to fail in the end? You got to let things sit a little bit. Patience is a virtue. They operate different than anybody else in the United States. They got a different mentality in Japan than they do in the United States. They took the right way to go about it. They waited. Now AEW is easily the second biggest promotion in the entire world with a major TNT TV deal. So New Japan sees this, and the ratings have remained steady. They're on the verge with this partnership to hit 1 million in the ratings. You know what's going to happen. So New Japan was like, all right, we gave it enough time. We gave it a year. You guys are still trending upwards. We are more comfortable now than we were in the beginning to partner with you, and we're going to do this thing. And that's exactly what happened. They thought, instead of, hey, I don't want to jump in bed with a fly-by-nighter or one-hit wonder. We want to see what you guys produce, and if it's still there, it is. Then we'll work with you. So they were wrong, and then they went their separate ways, and they needed Jon Moxley because he has the United States Championship. I mean, they could have stripped him. The fact that they didn't strip him means that, A, they wanted to work with Moxley, and B, being that Moxley works with AEW, they wanted to work with AEW because they knew how big Jon Moxley was. And he was their world champion. They're not dumb. So to use Moxley, they had to use AEW. And I'm assuming others on that roster, AEW's roster, has deals for New Japan. Miro wants to work New Japan. Brody Lee, before he passed, God rest his soul, wanted to work New Japan. Was given every right to in his contract. Jericho could go to Japan anytime he wants to work. Omega could go. The Bucks could go. Page could go. AEW gave this right to those men, and New Japan knows that. And why would New Japan want to use all of those names that I just listed? So for them to use those names, then they got to be in bed with AEW. Those names only make New Japan more money. Those names only bring more spotlight to New Japan. And the best thing for both parties is to work together. Because now AEW is going to be more apt to lend talent out, and AEW is going to get talent in return, a.k.a. Kenta, on Wednesday night. Sounds like a good deal to me. They could have stripped him, they didn't. They could have if they wanted to, but they didn't want to. The only way to get him, because he couldn't go to Japan, was to do it here. The only way to do it here was to get approval from Tony Khan, so it opened the door, and Harold May is gone. I know when I wrote that Harold was gone, it opened the door, and it did open the door for this partnership, end quote. Meltzer noted that if the pandemic didn't happen and Moxley was able to go to New Japan, that this may not have happened as soon as it did. It should be noted that the likelihood of AEW stars going to Japan to work dates isn't great due to AEW's weekly TV schedule. New Japan stars could come to the United States, but then they would have to quarantine for 14 days, which creates a challenge for them due to the hectic New Japan TV schedule. Thus, the two sides have an agreement, but until the pandemic is over, there will not be a lot of crossover between the two promotions. It's going to be a little bit longer, folks, but it is there. The door, it was cracked open a little bit. Now the door is completely open, and we're just waiting for both sides to come walking in through that door. Kenta is the start. Impact was the start. New Japan now, with Kenta being in the United States and working AEW Dynamite next week. This is the second part to this. What is it? What is exactly this leading to? We don't know. I have speculation that it could be leading to a variety of things, a super show of sorts. It could lead to a rebooking of the Blood and Guts match. It could be leading to a CM Punk inevitable return to pro wrestling. It could be a lot of things. I predicted we get a super show out of this sometime in the summer, labeling it the Battle of the Belts or labeling it as their own version of Wrestlemania. They got that big football stadium in the middle of summer doing nothing. They could book 60, 70,000 people in that venue if they wanted to. This is going to be a major, major deal. And for all the people, this is what I find funny. A lot of people, man, I don't know if you're joking or not, or if you're just fucking stupid. WWE is dead, people say, with this merger or this partnership, this working relationship. WWE's not dead. Why would you think this kills WWE? This does nothing for WWE. WWE is laughing all the way to the bank. They don't give a shit. All this does is expose WWE for doing the shitty thing and monopolizing the entire industry. They couldn't buy everybody that's working in AEW. They couldn't buy New Japan. They couldn't buy Impact. They couldn't buy NWA. Now, all of these promotions and all of these talents are working together. And if you collectively join forces, you got a very good chance to take away from WWE in the end. You're not going to kill WWE, but how do you battle the biggest fish in the ocean? You collectively get everybody together and you join forces in trying to hurt them. You're not going to kill WWE. You're not going to kill Vince. But this is an unbelievable way, an unbelievable start to damage a little bit of that WWE armor. And you got to give Tony Khan credit. You got to give Tony Khan credit. They set out on a mission statement before AEW was even a thing. They're going to change the world. We didn't know what the fuck that meant when AEW was first launched. Now we know what that means. They might have had it in their minds that this was going to happen. It didn't happen then, but they still had hope it was going to happen. Now everything that they had hoped then is happening now. They're legitimately changing the world. And you got to give props to Tony Khan for keeping AEW up every single week, in the positive every single week, being that this is his first venture in pro wrestling, booking shows like this, getting better every week. Not every show is perfect, but their creative is right up there. And you got to give him credit for keeping AEW in everybody's eyes, ears, and mouth. He's got the wrestling world talking about AEW, and just based on that alone, that is a W in the win column for Mr. Tony Khan. Can't ask for any more. I am very excited, man. I'm telling you right now, the summer in professional wrestling in 2021 is going to be something we've never seen before, ever. WWE is not dead. WWE just has their armor kinked in a little bit, which is a great thing, because when WWE has their armor a little torn up and they are feeling the effects of war, I can only hope that it makes them, in the end, a little bit better and a little bit more competitive. Because you know they don't want their fucking faces stepped all over. They don't want anybody coming into their fucking bubble and stealing their thunder away. Maybe this makes WWE a little bit more competitive. If that happens, we get the best of both worlds. We get what we got going on with Impact and New Japan with AEW. And WWE starts to write better television because now they are getting their shit pushed in. And it's about time somebody pushes their shit in, because they have gotten away with far too much. Giving us mediocre television, far too much. Maybe it makes them better. I can only hope so. Monday Night Raw. Ratings are in for Raw. Post-Royal Rumble show. This is according to Showbuzz Daily. The show averaged 1.892 million viewers on the USA Network. That's up from last week's episode of 1.819. This was the post edition of Raw for the Royal Rumble on Sunday. Historically, Monday Night Raw usually is up a lot more than it was this past week after a pay-per-view show. It did get an increase, but the simple fact that WWE advertised Bad Bunny on Sunday's Royal Rumble show, and then they advertised Bad Bunny to be on the Royal Rumble post show for Monday Night Raw with Edge and Orton and all the happenings coming out of the Royal Rumble, and they still failed to get above a 2. I take that as a major L, bro. It's a major L for WWE. Not breaking a 2 after a really positive Royal Rumble. I don't know, man. The 18 to 49 demo saw hour 1 with a 0.61, 0.57 in hour 2, and a 0.55 in hour 3. The hourly breakdown is as follows: 1.981, 1.855, and 1.811. Monday Night Raw. Do I have Monday Night Raw up here? Let me see. Let me see if I have the Monday Night Raw results. I did not have them immediately up because the show was fucking terrible. Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley got disqualified in the United States title match. He did not let go of the Hurt Lock on Matt Riddle. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, they defeated the Lucha House Party to retain the Raw Tag Team titles. Miz TV with Bad Bunny. Damian Priest seems to be in this thing with Bad Bunny. It's leading to a WrestleMania match of sorts between all 4 guys. I'll talk about that in a second. This led to Damian Priest beating The Miz in his Raw debut. The Miz, he needed help against The Miz, and he got help from Bad Bunny to beat The Miz. Damian Priest. Not really how I would start his Monday Night Raw venture, but at least he got the victory, and he's paired with the most popular superstar in the world of music today in Bad Bunny. I guess it's a give-and-take situation. Charlotte and Asuka, they went up against Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke against Naomi and Lana in a triple threat tag team match. Winners would get a tag team title shot against Shayna and Nia. This went to Naomi and Lana. Charlotte and Lacey Evans continue this horrendous storyline that I don't find interesting at all. Edge beat Randy Orton in the main event when Alexa Bliss interfered and distracted Randy Orton sitting on the top turnbuckle with blood spewing out of her mouth. So that was that. Not really the best episode of Monday Night Raw to follow a pay-per-view, but I've seen worse. I've seen much, much worse, folks. We got news coming out of Monday Night Raw. Carlito's WWE status is now in question. People have been asking about Carlito. PW Insider says that Carlito has yet to sign a WWE contract, and it is expected and considered a formality. He has already received a fair amount of internal praise for his recent work and being in great shape. As of this week, Carlito has not signed with WWE, but the expectation is that he just will sign, but not right now. There was a lot of internal praise for the way he looked and how he returned to the company in incredible shape. He is expected with the company full-time very soon. So, I said this on Monday Night Raw. Carlito, I would not be opposed to him being back. I was not the biggest Carlito guy when he was first in WWE, but now seeing him again and seeing how great he looks and what MVP did for the WWE upon his return and what they molded out of him with the Hurt Business, I feel like Carlito would be a benefit to the Monday Night Raw midcard. I really do. I'm not saying he's going to come in and win world titles, or I don't want him coming into main event and taking spots like that, but I mean, he adds to the midcard, and I think his presence and in-ring ability and his character, if WWE wants to get behind that, it could really be a benefit for Monday Night Raw. So I don't see any negative in this. So hopefully he does come back, and hopefully he wants it. And hopefully WWE gives him some sort of character development moving forward. So we'll see what happens with Carlito, but I do expect him back, and I welcome him on Monday Night Raw. Matt Riddle, he signs a brand new WWE contract. There was rumors that Matt Riddle and WWE were not really engaging in the contract talk, that Matt Riddle had turned down a WWE contract. It was noted that he did turn down initially And then WWE came back and offered him more money, and he agreed to the contract extension that they offered him a second time. Alvarez recently noted on the Wrestling Observer Live that he had doubts Riddle signed the contract. However, Fightful Select doubled down on this report this week by noting that Riddle has indeed signed a new deal with the WWE. Per the report, he is under an entirely new contract rather than an extension to his current one. He signed his original contract with WWE in 2018, where he had a run in NXT. Riddle's contract was set to expire in August of 21. It is noted that his new contract will now see him through with the company through the end of 2023. Matt Riddle's 35 years old. I did not know that. He comes off as a lot younger to me, but he's at this stage of his career where he needs to make this ample amount of money. And this is his prime time to make that money. Guaranteed money. So that was a big driving force, I'm assuming, with Matt Riddle staying with the company. The guy is as talented as they come. He could go anywhere and be successful, but being offered that type of money in what's going on now, pandemics, people losing jobs, people can't find work. He's got guaranteed money coming to him at the age of 35. He's comfortable with his position on Monday Night Raw. Good for him. Good for him. Hopefully he continues upwards and WWE knows what they got going on. Things are falling off my fucking wall. As always, man. I seriously think this fucking place is haunted. Things falling off walls, Bray Wyatt falling down when I'm talking about The Fiend. I got fucking pictures hanging off. Fucking crazy. Bad Bunny. Let's talk about Bad Bunny. We'll be seeing a lot more of Bad Bunny on WWE television. PW Insider's reporting that there are plans to have Bad Bunny involved at WrestleMania 37, and there was a pitch made to have him wrestle on the show. It remains to be seen if he does wrestle on the show. I read he's actually training at the Performance Center, and that a match with Miz and Morrison with Damian Priest as his partner is, right now, the big rumor for WrestleMania. WWE's got to bring in that casual viewer. Why the fuck not? Now, I will say this, man. I don't even want to mention his name because he's a fucking idiot. And he's a fucking geek. But that clown from Fox Sports, he pretty much made himself look like a fucking fool when he said, for everybody that's in the comment sections on WWE.com and on YouTube and on Twitter, and Bad Bunny's on, and you reply with the question of who, you just ousted yourself as not being in touch with mainstream and what's popular nowadays in the mainstream media. I never seen that as being a fucking problem, geek. Why is that a fucking problem? That you're not in touch with what's going on right now in the mainstream. First of all, let me tell you, whatever's in the mainstream is trash. It's some of the most untalented fucking garbage you could possibly set your eyes and your ears on. I'm not saying that Bad Bunny doesn't have a presence on the show or that he's not needed on the show. Let me tell you something. WWE needs Bad Bunny more than Bad Bunny needs WWE. They're using this guy and sucking this guy dry for every fucking view, every follower, every fucking YouTube fucking like, every download this guy has accumulated right now. They know the Latino presence that he brings to the company because they failed to bring Latino superstars to the forefront. They're still operating with fucking Rey Mysterio. Meanwhile, Andrade's there, failed. Garza is there, failed. Dominic really isn't doing much of anything. Damian Priest comes in. There's another guy that's got big mainstream appeal written all over him. What are they going to do with that? Only time will tell. But if those people don't know who he is, what's the problem? What is the issue? Maybe they don't give a shit who he is. Maybe that's not their cup of tea when it comes to his music. I've never seen this as being a fucking problem. There are still people now that never listened or heard of Metallica. So I'm not surprised. People are going to invest in what they want to invest in. People are going to go out there and look up and find information on things that they want to find information on. If Bad Bunny doesn't make music that they like or that appeals to them, they're not going to go out and fucking listen or know who he is. Why would they? There's nothing wrong with people wanting to sit in their own bubble. Who the fuck cares? Who are you to tell these people that they're lesser. They're lesser of a human being compared to you because they don't know who Bad Bunny is. His music sucks. That's a worldwide fucking thing. You got fucking how many downloads? A bunch of fucking mindless zombies listening to Bad Bunny. He may be Latino, you might be something, or that might be something that you gravitate towards. Fine. That's not something I go out there and listen to. And that's perfectly okay. It really is. You don't have to know who he is. But I get why he's on WWE TV. I'm not an idiot. I know why he's on TV. I know why WWE is using him. If Damian Priest gets a couple more fangirls because of this, then God bless him. He's another guy, 36, 37 years old. Got to strike while the iron's hot. If this is a way to get him over in the limelight, in the spotlight, then so be it. I get it. So we'll see what happens with him wrestling at WrestleMania. You know it's coming. You know what's going to happen. And finally, guys, before I get out of here, update on Christian. Christian Cage is back with the WWE. He was in the Royal Rumble. Following the Royal Rumble, Christian told WWE Network, all I ever promised everybody was one more match. That could be it. And he kind of insinuated that he'd be back for just more than the Royal Rumble. This won't be the case, according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider. Captain Charisma is scheduled to make more appearances on WWE TV, and he will be working a part-time schedule going forward. When his next match will be is currently unknown. He was secretly medically cleared for in-ring action a week ago before the Royal Rumble. He visited Pittsburgh. He was cleared then. Only a very small group of people knew that Christian was returning at the Royal Rumble, but more of the locker room found out after he started warming up for the Rumble. Outside of a 1-minute bout against Randy Orton in 2020, the Men's Rumble was Christian's first match since March 2014 when he won a number one contenders match for Big E's Intercontinental Championship. Funny that now, current day, SmackDown, Big E is the Intercontinental Champion. Could we be seeing a rematch from 7 years ago? Possibly at WrestleMania. I don't know. WWE may be booking that match for WrestleMania, seeing that WrestleMania is quickly becoming part-time Mania. And the fact that Christian could potentially be Big E's opponent might lend the credibility to the rumors and speculation that Edge is going to go to SmackDown and challenge Roman Reigns. Because obviously, if Edge goes to SmackDown and challenges Reigns for the Universal title, then Christian most certainly will be used in that feud. Maybe we get some tag team matches out of them against Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Maybe Christian is just used as a pawn in this thing, while Edge maybe takes a week or two off, sells an injury, doesn't show up every week. Christian can be there to fill in for him to sell this storyline moving forward without Edge having to be there. Some pretty interesting stuff there, man. Christian was always, in my honest opinion, very underrated. He's really a great worker. And you heard all the rumors about Vince McMahon not liking him and the way he looked and yada, yada, yada. But man, his feud with Randy Orton all those years ago, excellent stuff. If Christian is back, he still looks great. He actually looks better than Edge, to be quite honest with you. If he's back and he's even fucking 75% of what he was when he was still there in 2014, we could be looking at some fun on Friday nights. I'm not really against that, but again, I hope these guys don't take up too much time. I get why they're back for Mania season. WWE wants to kind of blow the roof off WrestleMania, but everybody has their place and spot on the show. I just don't want them to be predominantly featured on the show, taking away from a great and talented roster on Friday night. So we'll see what happens, man. Christian is back, and he was secretly medically cleared for the Royal Rumble, and he will be back on either Raw or SmackDown leading into WrestleMania on a part-time basis. Guys, that is it. I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all your support on the podcast today. If you did enjoy this, let me know what you think down below. Leave a comment. Comments always help. Hit that thumbs up. Thumbs up help tremendously. So if you guys want to hit that thumbs up, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at JD206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Become one of JD's elite right here on Off the Script. And make sure you guys go and check out the sponsor for today's show, ridge.com/script10. That is script10 at checkout for $10 10% off. Guys, I will see you right back here on Monday with a brand new week of content as we head into TakeOver Vengeance Day and then the Elimination Chamber on the 21st. Have a great weekend, guys. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you right back here live on YouTube for the post show on Monday Night Raw. See you guys then.